You're sitting there right now, wrapped in chains you cannot see. Invisible bonds that feel like loyalty, like duty, like love, but they're actually prison bars keeping you from your true destiny. And the most painful truth, you put those chains there yourself. I know, because I've been there. We all have. That soul-crushing job we won't leave because we've put in so many years. Those toxic relationships we can't walk away from because they need us. Those outdated dreams we cling to because we've already invested so much. My friends, today we're going to talk about the most dangerous addiction in human history: misplaced loyalty. You see, loyalty isn't what you think it is. It's not a virtue when it becomes a vice. It's not strength when it becomes your weakness. And it's certainly not love when it becomes your prison. The loyalty that's killing your spirit right now, that's not the noble quality you were taught to believe in. That's fear wearing a mask of honor. How many times have you stayed in a situation that was slowly destroying you? You simply because you felt loyal. How many times have you silenced that voice inside you? That voice screaming for change because you thought being loyal meant being stuck. I've counseled thousands of people over the years, and I've noticed something remarkable. The ones who struggle most with happiness aren't the ones who lack loyalty. They're the ones who have too much of it. They're loyal to jobs that drain their souls. They're loyal to relationships that diminish their spirit. They're loyal to beliefs that were forced upon them by others. They're loyal to versions of themselves that expired years ago. But here's what nobody tells you about loyalty. True loyalty must first and foremost be to your own spirit, to your own growth, to your own truth. Everything else is just habit masquerading as virtue. Think about a tree for a moment. Is a tree loyal to its leaves when autumn comes? Does it desperately cling to them out of some misplaced sense of obligation? No. The tree understands a profound truth that we humans often forget. Letting go is growth. Letting go is wisdom. Letting go is love in its highest form. You might be thinking, but isn't loyalty important? Isn't it what holds relationships together? Isn't it what builds trust? And you're right, but there's a crucial distinction we need to make. There's a world of difference between conscious loyalty and compulsive loyalty. Conscious loyalty is a choice made from freedom. Compulsive loyalty is a... Let me share something powerful with you. During my early years of counseling, I worked with a brilliant woman who had spent 20 years in a career she hated. 20 years. Why? Because she felt loyal to her parents' dream of her becoming a lawyer. She had constructed an entire life around someone else's vision, and she called it loyalty. But it wasn't loyalty, it was fear. Fear of disappointment, fear of change, fear of claiming her own path. The day she finally gave herself permission to be disloyal to that old dream was the day she found her true loyalty. Loyalty to her own spirit. Today, she's a successful artist, and more importantly, she's alive in a way she never was. Sometimes the most loyal thing you can do is walk away. But this isn't just about careers or relationships. This is about something far more fundamental. This is about the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we owe to others. This is about the invisible contracts we signed with our past selves, with other people's expectations, with outdated dreams. You see, most of us are carrying around loyalties we never consciously chose. We inherited them. They were programmed into us. They were handed to us by well-meaning people who were simply passing down their own inherited limitations. And we've been loyal to these hand-me-down beliefs, these second-hand dreams, these borrowed fears. But you don't owe loyalty to anything that diminishes your spirit. You don't owe loyalty to anyone who demands your stagnation as proof of your love. You don't owe loyalty to dreams that no longer fit who you've become. And most importantly, you don't owe loyalty to the person you used to be. Every moment of your life is a chance to ask yourself, is this loyalty serving my growth, or is it serving my fear? Is this loyalty expanding my spirit, or is it shrinking my world? Is this loyalty a conscious choice made from freedom, or is it a compulsive pattern born from fear? The answers might frighten you at first. They might challenge everything you thought you knew about loyalty, about responsibility, about love. But that's good. That's where transformation begins, in that uncomfortable space between who we've been told to be and who we truly are. Think about the relationships in your life right now. How many of them exist purely out of loyalty? How many conversations are you having simply because you feel obligated? How many dreams are you pursuing simply because you've been pursuing them for so long that stopping feels like failure? We've been taught that loyalty means staying. But true loyalty, loyalty to life itself, sometimes means leaving. It means having the courage to say, this no longer serves my highest good. It means understanding that every ending creates space. It means trusting that when we're loyal to our own growth, we serve not only ourselves, but the entire world. Because here's what nobody tells you about misplaced loyalty. It doesn't just hurt you. It hurts everyone around you. When you stay in situations that diminish your spirit out of loyalty, you rob the world of your gifts. When you silence your truth out of loyalty, you rob the world of your authentic voice. When you shrink yourself to fit someone else's expectations out of loyalty, you rob the world of your full potential. And this brings us to the heart of our transformation. Because recognizing misplaced loyalty is only the first step. The real work begins when we decide to break free. When we choose to be loyal to our truth, even when that truth when we choose to be loyal to our growth, even when that growth means leaving behind the familiar. Let me tell you something, you choose comfort over growth. You choose someone else's version of your life over your own. Every time you choose false loyalty over authentic living, you vote against your own destiny. And every time you silence your truth to maintain peace, you declare war on your own spirit. But breaking free isn't about dramatic gestures or burning bridges. It's about quiet courage. It's about small decisions that align with your truth. It's about saying no to the things that no longer serve your growth, even when saying no feels like betrayal. You see, most people think breaking free from misplaced loyalty requires a massive upheaval. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect circumstances. But transformation doesn't work that way. Transformation happens in small moments of choosing yourself. It happens when you speak your truth in a meeting, even though everyone expects you to stay silent. It happens when you set a boundary in a relationship, even though you've never set one before. It happens when you admit that a dream you've been pursuing no longer lights you up inside. The question isn't whether you're strong enough to break free. The question is whether you're willing to be uncomfortable enough to grow, whether you're willing to disappoint others to be true to yourself, whether you're willing to be temporarily misunderstood for the sake of your long-term authenticity. The people who demand your unquestioning loyalty are often the ones who have the most to gain from your stagnation. The systems that demand your blind allegiance are often the ones that profit from your limitation. The beliefs that demand your unwavering devotion are often the ones that keep you small. Think about that for a moment. Really let it sink in. How many of your current loyalties are actually serving someone else's interests? How many of your current commitments are actually protecting someone else's comfort zone? How many of your current beliefs are actually preserving? I've seen countless people wake up to this truth, and it's always both terrifying and liberating. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you recognize how misplaced loyalty has been holding you back, you can't go back to sleep. And that's when the real transformation begins. As you start breaking free from misplaced loyalties, you discover a deeper kind of loyalty to life itself. You begin to understand that being loyal to your growth serves everyone better than being loyal to their limitations. You begin to see that being loyal to your truth serves the world better than being loyal to comfortable lies. This is where real power lies. Not in the power to control or manipulate, but in the power to be authentically yourself. Not in the power to please others, but in the power to be true to your own spirit. Not in the power to maintain appearances, but in the power to live from your deepest truth. And yes, this journey will challenge you. Yes, there will be people who don't understand. Yes, there will be moments when the old loyalties call to you like sirens, promising safety if you'll just come back to your familiar prison. That's exactly when you need to remember. The discomfort you feel is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're growing. Let me share something profound with you. So every time you choose truth over comfort, you become stronger. Every time you choose growth over security, you become more alive. Every time you choose authentic loyalty over compulsive loyalty, you become more powerful. The path to freedom from misplaced loyalty is not a straight line. It's a spiral taking you deeper and deeper into your own truth. Sometimes you'll feel like you're covering the same ground again, but you're actually moving at a deeper level. Each time you face a similar challenge, you're facing it with more wisdom, more strength, more clarity. This is what real transformation looks like. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you. It's about peeling away the layers of false loyalty that have accumulated over years, even decades. It's about returning to your original authenticity, your essential truth. And as you do this work, something remarkable happens. The very people who initially resist your transformation begin to be transformed by your example. Your courage to break free from misplaced loyalty becomes permission for others to examine their own loyalties. Your willingness to be true to yourself becomes an invitation for others to discover their own truth. Because here's what I've discovered after years of witnessing transformations. When one person breaks free from misplaced loyalty, they create a ripple effect that touches countless lives. When one person chooses authentic loyalty over compulsive loyalty, they change not just their own life, but the lives of everyone around them. Think about that. Your decision to break free from misplaced loyalty isn't just about you. It's about every person who will be inspired by your courage. It's about every person who will see in your transformation the possibility of their own. It's about every person who will look at your journey and think, if they can do it, maybe I can too. This is why the work we're doing here today is so important. This is why breaking free from misplaced loyalty is not just a personal choice, it's a sacred responsibility. Because every time you choose truth over comfort, you make it easier for someone else to do the same. Every time you choose growth over security, you make it safer for someone else to grow. So how do we do this? How do we break free from the chains of misplaced loyalty while building something authentic and powerful in its place? The answer lies in understanding that true loyalty is not about endurance, it's about alignment. It's not about persistence, it's about purpose. It's not about duration, it's about direction. Let me share something powerful that most people never realize. And your spirit knows the difference between true and false loyalty. Your body knows, your heart knows. When you're operating from misplaced loyalty, there's always tension. There's always a whisper of doubt in your mind. There's always a heaviness in your heart. But when you're aligned with true loyalty, loyalty to your highest good, loyalty to your authentic path, there's an ease that comes with it. Even when the path is challenging, there's a sense of rightness. Even when the journey is difficult, there's a feeling of alignment. Even when others don't understand, there's an inner knowing that you're on your true path. This is your internal compass. This is your spiritual GPS. And it's never wrong. The problem isn't that we don't know what's right for us. The problem is that we've been trained to ignore these internal signals in favor of external expectations. Think about the last time you made a decision that went against your inner knowing. Remember how it felt in your body. Remember the tension, the resistance, the subtle anxiety that wouldn't go away. That wasn't weakness or cowardice. That was your authentic self trying to protect you from. Now, breaking free from misplaced loyalty requires us to develop new skills, new awareness, new ways of being. The first skill is the ability to distinguish between true loyalty and fear-based attachment. True loyalty enhances your energy, expands your spirit. It challenges you to grow. Fear-based attachment, on the other hand, always diminishes you. It always constrains you. It always demands that you become less than you are. The second skill is learning to sit with the discomfort of other people's disappointment. This is crucial because every time you choose authentic loyalty over misplaced loyalty, someone will be disappointed. Someone will feel betrayed. Someone will try to make you feel guilty for choosing your truth. But there's what you need to understand. Their disappointment is not your responsibility. Their discomfort with your growth is not your burden to carry. Their resistance to your transformation is not your problem to solve. Your only responsibility is to be true to your highest good, to your deepest wisdom, to your authentic path. Every time you choose authentic loyalty over misplaced loyalty, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the energy of the entire universe. Every time you break free from a limitation, you create a crack in the collective ceiling of human potential. Every time you choose truth over comfort, you make it easier for everyone else to do the same. This is why the journey we're on is so much bigger than personal transformation. This is about collective evolution. This is about breaking free from generations of inherited limitation. This is about creating new possibilities, not just for ourselves, but for everyone who comes after us. Think about this. Every limitation you accept out of misplaced loyalty becomes a brick in the wall that constrains future generations. Every truth you silence becomes a shadow that darkens their path. Every dream you abandon becomes a door that closes for them. But the opposite is also true. Every limitation you break through becomes a gateway for others. Every truth you speak becomes a light on their path. Every dream you pursue becomes an invitation for them to pursue their own. This is where the real power of breaking free from misplaced loyalty lies. It's not just about personal freedom, it's about collective liberation. It's not just about individual growth, it's about evolutionary advancement. It's not just about your journey. It's about expanding what's possible for all of humanity. And yes, this sounds big. Yes, this sounds overwhelming. Yes, this sounds like more responsibility than you might want to carry. But here's the beautiful truth. You don't have to carry it all at once. You don't have to transform everything overnight. You don't have to break free from every misplaced loyalty in one dramatic gesture. All you have to do is take one step, make one choice, speak one truth, set one boundary. That's all transformation ever requires, the willingness to take one step in the direction of your truth. Because here's what happens when you take that first step. The universe responds. Energy shifts. Possibilities open up. Support appears. It might not look the way you expect. It might not come from where you anticipate, but it always comes. I've seen this happen countless times. Someone takes that first step away from misplaced loyalty. Maybe they finally admit they're in the wrong career. Maybe they finally set a boundary in a relationship. Maybe they finally speak a truth they've been hiding, and suddenly doors begin to open. Opportunities appear. Support manifests. This isn't magic. This is the natural response of the universe to authentic action. This is what happens when you align yourself with truth instead of comfort, with growth instead of security, with authentic loyalty instead of compulsive attachment. Remember this, the path of authentic loyalty isn't always easier. It's just truer. It's not always more comfortable. It's just more aligned. It's not always smoother. It's just more authentic. And that's what makes all the difference. Because when you're aligned with your truth, you have access to a different kind of strength. When you're loyal to your authentic path, you have access to a different kind of wisdom. When you're committed to your highest good, you have access to a different kind of power. Now, let's talk about what happens when you actually start breaking free from misplaced loyalty. Because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where theory becomes practice. This is where intention meets resistance. You need to understand something crucial. The moment you start breaking free from misplaced loyalty, every force that has benefited from your limitation will rise up to stop you. Every person who has profited from your compliance will try to pull you. Every system that has thrived on your silence will try to make you doubt yourself. This isn't because these forces are evil. It's not because these people are malicious. It's because systems of misplaced loyalty depend on everyone playing their assigned roles. The moment one person steps out of their role, the entire system is threatened. Think about what happens in a family when one person starts setting healthy boundaries. Think about what happens in a workplace when one person starts speaking uncomfortable truths. Think about what happens in a relationship when one person starts honoring their own needs. The system pushes back hard. It uses every tool at its disposal: guilt, shame, fear, obligation, tradition, religion, culture, anything to get you to step back into your assigned role. And this is where most people give up. This is where most people decide that breaking free is too costly, too difficult, too disruptive. This radio sessions isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. This pushback isn't a sign that you should stop. This disruption isn't a sign that you're making a mistake. It's a sign that you're doing something powerful. It's a sign that you're creating real change. It's a sign that you're actually breaking free. Because real transformation never happens without resistance. Real growth never happens without disruption. Real freedom never happens without a fight. The question isn't whether you'll face resistance. You will. The question is whether you'll let that resistance stop you. Let me share something profound with you. The intensity of the resistance you face is often directly proportional to the importance of the change you're making. The stronger the pushback, the more crucial the transformation. The louder the opposition, the more necessary the break. Think about a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. If you try to help it by cutting open the cocoon, you actually harm it. The butterfly needs that resistance. It needs that struggle. It needs that opposition. Because the very act of pushing against that resistance is what makes its wings strong enough to fly. Your struggle against misplaced loyalty is exactly the same. The resistance you face isn't your enemy. It's your strength trainer. The opposition you encounter isn't your obstacle. It's your opportunity. The pushback you experience isn't your burden. It's your builder. That's where most people get stuck. They try to break free from misplaced loyalty while still seeking approval from the very systems they're breaking free from. They try to transform while still trying to please everyone. They try to change while still trying to maintain every relationship exactly as it is. This doesn't work. It can't work. Because real transformation requires you to be willing to disappoint people. Real growth requires you to be willing to make others uncomfortable. Real freedom requires you to be willing to let relationships change, evolve, or even... This isn't about being cruel. It's not about being selfish. It's about being true. It's about understanding that your loyalty to truth must be stronger than your loyalty to comfort, both your own comfort and the comfort of others. And yes, this is hard. Yes, this is scary. Yes, this will probably be one of the most challenging things you've ever done. But consider the alternative. Consider the cost of staying loyal to things that diminish you. Consider the price of remaining faithful to systems that constrain you. Consider the consequence of maintaining allegiance to beliefs that limit you. Is the truth. The pain of breaking free from misplaced loyalty, while intense, is temporary. But the pain of staying loyal to things that diminish your spirit, that pain is chronic. That pain is constant. That pain becomes the background radiation of your entire life. Think about that for a moment. Really let it sink in. The discomfort of breaking free is temporary. The discomfort of staying stuck is permanent. The pain of disappointing others is temporary. The pain of disappointing yourself is permanent. The cost of losing certain relationships is temporary. The cost of losing yourself is permanent. This is why breaking free from misplaced loyalty isn't just an option, it's an imperative. This is why transforming isn't just a possibility, it's a responsibility. This is why changing isn't just a choice, it's a necessity. Because every moment you stay loyal to things that diminish you, you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting everyone who needs the gift that only you can give. You're hurting everyone who needs the light that only you can shine. You're hurting everyone who needs the truth that only you can speak. And this brings us to a crucial understanding. Breaking free from misplaced loyalty isn't just about what you're leaving behind. It's about what you're moving toward. It's not just about what you're releasing. It's not just about what you're ending. It's about what you're beginning. This is where most people get stuck. They focus so much on what they're losing that they forget to focus on what they're gaining. They get so caught up in the pain of breaking free that they forget to anticipate the joy of flying. They get so wrapped up in the fear of the unknown that they forget to embrace the excitement of possibility. But here's what happens when you shift your focus. The very things that seem like obstacles become opportunities. The very things that seem like barriers become bridges. The very things that seem like endings become beginnings. Because breaking free from misplaced loyalty isn't really about breaking anything. It's about building something new. It's about creating space for something authentic to emerge. It's about clearing the ground so something true can grow. So where do we go from here? How do we take everything we've understood about misplaced loyalty and turn it into lasting transformation? How do we ensure that this moment of clarity becomes a lifetime of authentic living? The answer lies in understanding that breaking free from misplaced loyalty isn't a single decision, it's a series of choices. It's not a moment, it's a movement. It's not an event, it's an evolution. And it starts right here, right now, with a fundamental shift in how you see loyalty itself. True loyalty, authentic loyalty, conscious loyalty, these aren't about endurance. They're about resonance. They're not about obligation. They're about alignment. They're not about duration. They're about direction. Think about water for a moment. Water is loyal to its own nature. It doesn't try to be fire. It doesn't pretend to be earth. It doesn't attempt to be air. It simply flows where it needs to flow, freezes when it needs to freeze, evaporates when it needs to evaporate. And in being true to its nature, it shapes continents, carves valleys, and sustains all life. This is the kind of loyalty your spirit is asking for. Not the loyalty of a prisoner to their cell, but the loyalty of water to its nature. Not the loyalty of a slave to their master, but the loyalty of a river to its course. Not the loyalty of fear to its limitations, but the loyalty of life to its growth. You see, the greatest act of loyalty you can perform is being true to your own nature. The highest form of faithfulness you can demonstrate is fidelity to your own growth. The deepest commitment you can make is to your own evolution. And yes, this will require courage. Yes, this will demand strength. Yes, this will call forth everything you have and then ask for more. But consider this, you already have courage. You already have strength. You already have everything you need. You've just been using these qualities to maintain misplaced loyalties instead of creating authentic ones. Think about how much strength it takes to stay in situations that diminish you. Think about how much courage it takes to silence your truth day after day. Think about how much energy it takes to maintain loyalties that no longer serve your growth. Now imagine redirecting all that power toward your authentic path. Imagine channeling all that strength into your true purpose. Imagine investing all that energy into your genuine growth. This is what transformation looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what authentic loyalty creates, not the heavy burden of obligation, but the light step of aligned purpose. Not the constant struggle of resistance, but the flowing ease of resonance. Not the draining energy of pretense, but the renewable power of truth. Because here's what happens when you start being loyal to your authentic self. Life starts being loyal to you, not in some magical, wishful thinking way, but in the practical, tangible way that always happens when you align yourself with truth. Opportunities appear. Doors open. Support manifests. Not because you're being rewarded for good behavior, but because you're finally operating in alignment with life itself. Think about a radio for a moment. When you tune a radio to the right frequency, you don't have to force the signal to come through. You don't have to convince the music to play. You don't have to persuade the station to broadcast. You simply align the receiver with the signal, and the music flows naturally. Your life works the same way. When you align yourself with your truth, when you tune yourself to your authentic frequency, when you become loyal to your genuine nature, life starts flowing through you in ways you never imagined possible. This is why breaking free from misplaced loyalty isn't just about ending something. It's about beginning everything. It's not just about stopping what doesn't work. It's about starting what does. It's not just about leaving the familiar. It's about embracing the... And yes, there will be moments of doubt. Yes, there will be times of uncertainty. Yes, there will be periods of fear. But these aren't obstacles to your journey. They're part of your journey. They're not blocking your path. They're your path. They're not stopping your growth. They're growing you, because true transformation doesn't happen despite these challenges. It happens through these challenges. Real growth doesn't occur in spite of these difficulties. It occurs because of these difficulties. Authentic loyalty isn't developed by avoiding these tests. It's developed by embracing them. So here's your invitation. Start today. Start now. Start where you are. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to see the whole path. You don't need to know every step. You just need to take the first step. And that step is simply being honest with yourself about where your current loyalties lie. What am I staying loyal to out of fear rather than love? What am I remaining faithful to out of habit rather than choice? What am I maintaining allegiance to out of obligation rather than authentic alignment? The answers might surprise you. They might challenge you. They might even scare you. But they will also free you. Because the moment you start asking these questions, honestly, the process of transformation has already begun. Every moment of your life is a chance to choose again. Every breath is an opportunity to align anew. Every heartbeat is an invitation to be loyal to your truth in a deeper way. You're not stuck with the loyalties you inherited. You're not bound by the commitments you made from fear. You're not chained to the promises you made before you knew better. You can choose again. You can choose differently. You can choose consciously. And as you do, something remarkable happens. The very act of choosing conscious loyalty over compulsive loyalty, of choosing authentic alignment over automatic agreement, of choosing true resonance over habitual response, this very act transforms not just you, but the world around you. Because when one person stands in their truth, they give permission for others to do the same. When one person chooses authentic loyalty over misplaced loyalty, they create a crack in the collective ceiling of limitation. When one person aligns with their genuine nature, they make it easier for everyone else to do the same. This is your moment. This is your invitation. This is your call to transformation. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when everything is perfect. Now here, today, the world doesn't need more people who are loyally living lives of quiet desperation. The world needs people who are brave enough to be loyal to their truth, committed enough to stand in their authenticity, strong enough to create lives of genuine alignment. That's what you're capable of. That's what you're here for. That's what you're made for. And the time to begin is now. The place to start is here. The person to become is you, the real you, the authentic you, the truly loyal. Let that be your commitment today. Let that be your loyalty from this moment forward. Let that be your path into the future that's waiting for you to create it. Because when you're loyal to your truth becomes loyal to you. When you're faithful to your growth becomes faithful to you. When you're committed to your authentic path, your path commits itself to you. This is the power of conscious loyalty. This is the promise of authentic alignment. This is the potential that's been waiting for you all along. Claim it, live it, be it. Your time is now.